What will happen to the Earth if a human being disappears from the Earth? Earth is the only planet in the known universe where life exists. Life here has not only flourished but has also evolved so much that it has gone out in search of life on other planets. Humans, i.e. you and I, are the best forms of life on this planet. Just imagine how much humans have changed the Earth in the last few million years. What will happen to the Earth if humans disappear? According to the latest estimates, there are 8.2 billion people in the world, and what if for some reason all of them suddenly disappeared? The first impact will be on infrastructure. According to a report in Popular Science, water from pipes and wires will stop flowing, metro and traffic tunnels underneath major cities will be flooded, gas and coal power plants need constant fuel. Both are needed. In a humid environment, inside walls will become moldy. Fallen trees will crushing roofs in a storm. Fires cannot be extinguished. Buildings will be eroded and eventually collapse by earthquakes. Plants will cover walls and separate bricks and siding. Wooden structures, including most residential buildings made of wooden beams, mid-century steel and glass skyscrapers will last a long time, but not forever. Roads would be the most sustainable sign of any infrastructure humans have built. They would likely last a long time. If buildings, roads and ruins were buried in sediment perhaps by flooding or land subsidence, they would be more likely to survive, even within thousands of years. If we take time a little further, in less than a million years, superficial evidence of humans will disappear from the Earth. Some artifacts such as bronze sculptures, porcelain and mugs, and gold ingots will be buried over time. Some traces will remain below the surface. There will also be fossil evidence of mass extinctions, climate change and sea level rise. There are about 440 active nuclear power plants in the world, and without maintenance, they will eventually melt down, the water in their cooling systems will dry up, and the rising heat will cause nuclear explosions. Maybe not. The deadliest ever explosion ever occurred at Chernobyl, which released about 400 times more radioactive material than the bomb dropped on Hiroshima by the United States, contaminated some 58,000 square miles of land, but the world covers 197 million square miles. Not far from any nuclear power plant are caves, deep oceans and large expanses of land and water. It is possible that many life forms will survive despite 440 explosions like Chernobyl. Many creatures will perish along with us, including insects such as head lice and bed bugs. Domestic animals such as cows and dogs will not be able to survive long on their own. For everything else, life will continue. After a few decades, temperatures will stop rising without more human emissions. At the local level, heavy metal and chemical pollution from factories and infrastructure will put pressure on organisms that may be trying to survive nearby. In the Permian Triassic, the worst time of extinction, 80 to 90% of all marine species and 70% of all terrestrial vertebrates died. Earth's journey into space will continue. The planet doesn't need us. Life will persist at least until our sun becomes too hot to endure it. Some creatures may be able to survive in the boiling oceans, but just when our star is taking its last breath and turning into a red giant billions of years later, then all its nearby planets will turn into ashes. Even in this horrific event, the rocks that will be able to maintain their layers will continue to show our impact on the planet, and in distant space, evidence of human civilization will probably be much longer. The Voyager spacecraft has crossed our solar system and is on its way, sending back evidence of human civilization back to Earth. If the Earth disappears from the Earth will gradually return to natural equilibrium. Without man, nature would regenerate itself and erase over time the influences we have left. This process can take place as follows. Buildings, roads, and other man-made structures will slowly begin to break down and decay. Without maintenance, concrete and steel structures will collapse due to weather, moisture, and vegetation. Large buildings will crumble in a few hundred years, and their remains will be buried in a few thousand years. Farmlands and urban areas will be turned into forests, grasslands, and swamps. Wild animals, such as deer, wolves, leopards, etc., will return to unmanned areas. Some species, which humans had brought to the brink of extinction, may gradually increase in number. The closure of factories and vehicles will stop the emission of greenhouse gases. The level of carbon dioxide in the atmosphere will decrease gradually, thereby improving the climate balance. However, some of the effects of global warming, such as sea level rise, will be long-lasting. Plastics and other pollutants will stay the longest. They can persist on Earth for several hundred years. Over time, bacteria and natural processes may be able to break down these pollutants. Radioactive waste left by humans and nuclear plants will remain a threat for a long time. The radioactive material will continue to emit radiation for thousands of years, but gradually its effect will decrease. In a few million years, almost all traces of man will be erased. Earth will once again be the same as it was before humans arrived, a wild, natural planet. The Earth is a self-sustaining system, and without mankind, it can balance and regenerate itself. It will take time for nature to fully recover once humans are gone, but eventually Earth will become a biodiversity-rich planet. Definitely. If humans were to cease to exist entirely, many more interesting things could happen to the Earth. Let's look at this in a little more detail. Hundreds of satellites orbiting the Earth will begin to fall gradually. These will burn from friction in the atmosphere. Spacecraft sent into space, such as Voyager, will continue to revolve in the universe until the gravitational force of another planet or star pulls them away. Like the Egyptian pyramids, the Great Wall of China, or Mount Rushmore, these structures can survive for thousands of years, but over time they will also be depleted due to wind, water, and soil erosion. Many marine species on the verge of extinction due to humans may be revived. The number of fish will increase as the threat of overfishing will be eliminated. Plastic in the oceans will last for hundreds of years. However, gradually it will break down into small pieces and turn into microplastics, which will remain a long-term threat to marine life. Coral reefs can regenerate more slowly, as temperatures and pollution levels will decrease. Without humans, trees and forests would expand rapidly. These will cool the atmosphere by absorbing carbon dioxide from the atmosphere. The air and water will quickly become cleaner as pollution sources, e.g. factories, vehicles, are eliminated. With the demise of urban areas, the urban heat island effect will also dissipate, allowing temperatures to stabilize. Pets such as dogs and cats will struggle to survive in the wild. Some species can become wild, but the animals that live in most homes can be lost gradually. Large animals such as lions, bears, and elephants killed or confined by humans will roam freely. Populations of birds and insects will increase as humans intervene, such as pesticides, come to an end. Some animals will use human cities and buildings as their new habitat, such as monkeys or birds. Natural phenomena such as volcanoes and earthquakes will reshape the Earth. The breakdown of human dams and canals will cause rivers to return to their old paths. The animal and plant species that became extinct due to humans will be replaced by new species. Due to natural selection, redesign of organisms can evolve over the coming millions of years. Traces of human influence, e.g. metal, concrete, will be completely erased. Earth will once again look like an ancient, wild planet. If another species, such as monkeys or dolphins, evolved intellectually, they could usher in a new civilization on Earth. Earth can be a balanced and beautiful planet without humans. However, our activities have left a lasting impact on the Earth, some positive and some negative. But nature has a wonderful self-healing system. It shows that while humans may have a large existence on Earth, the Earth itself is a vast and complex ecosystem that can sustain itself over time. If the human being is wiped out from the Earth, what else can happen on various aspects? Without humans, the power grid would only be operational for a few days. After that, the power plants will gradually shut down. Solar power and wind power plants may operate for some time, but these will also come to a standstill due to lack of maintenance. Without care, nuclear power plants can melt and radioactive materials can spill into the atmosphere. It can spread poisoning locally for many years. Cities will turn into jungle because of vines, shrubs and trees. Parks and gardens created by humans can form the basis of forests. Materials such as glass and plastic can exist for thousands of years, but they will slowly break down and get into the soil. Without maintenance, the drainage system of cities will shut down. This can lead to flooding in urban areas and turn them into swampy areas. Even if humans suddenly disappeared, the effects of global warming would persist for a few thousand years. Sea levels will continue to rise, but will stabilize over time. Submerged coastal cities, such as New York or Mumbai, can become the new habitats for marine life. Whales, dolphins and other sea creatures will find relief from human prey and pollution, and their populations can grow rapidly. Tropical and temperate regions, such as the Amazon forest, will become more dense. Desert areas may gradually shrink if vegetation begins to spread there. Without human intervention, the natural water cycle, rivers, lakes, underground water, will return to its old form. This will further stabilize the Earth's climate. Domesticated animals such as cows, chickens, and sheep that depended on humans would struggle to survive in nature. However, some can grow wild and keep their numbers. The balance of prey and predatory animals will return. For example, the number of wolves may also increase as the number of deer increases. Exotic animals dispersed by humans, such as rabbits in Australia, can disturb the natural balance in their new environment. In geological terms, the presence of humans was a short-term event. After we leave, the Earth will return to its natural cycle of millions and millions of years. The concrete, steel, and plastic we leave behind may become evidence for studying the history of the Earth by another species in the future. Objects left by humans on the Moon, Mars, and elsewhere will remain there for millions of years. These can become the basis of a search for a new civilization or external intelligence. Man-made devices like Voyager, which is sending signals into space, will continue to travel for a long time in the universe. These can become the only permanent symbol of humanity's existence. Books, CDs, hard drives and other digital data will be destroyed without care. Some preserved things may be found in the future, but most of the human knowledge will be lost. Artifacts made of stone or metal, such as sculptures and monuments, can persist for thousands of years and give a glimpse of our culture. In the future, species may emerge that will become top predators in our absence. If a species, such as monkeys, dolphins, or some birds, gradually becomes more intelligent, then in millions of years they too could form civilization. Eventually, when the Sun reaches the final stage of its life, in 5 billion years, the Earth will become completely lifeless. But till then, it will be able to maintain the natural and biological balance. The Earth can survive without humans and will regenerate itself slowly. It helps us understand that nature is beyond humans and has a much longer lifespan than we imagined. But if humans control our actions today, we can keep this planet a better place for a long time. If we understand the future of the Earth more deeply when humans are removed, then some more unique aspects related to it emerge. Coral reefs were rapidly dying due to global warming. Without humans, the temperature would gradually stabilize, allowing coral reefs to regenerate. In the absence of human intervention, deep-sea creatures such as jellyfish, giant squid, and bacteria can reach new heights. Submerged buildings and ships in the sea can become new homes for marine creatures. These will make the traces left by humans part of the marine ecosystem. The movements of tectonic plates will give new shapes to continents over millions of years. Mountains like the Himalayas will continue to rise, while new land may form at the bottom of the seas. Particles from volcanoes without humans can balance greenhouse gases in the atmosphere, which will improve Earth's climate balance. The cessation of human activity will reduce carbon dioxide levels. This will slow down global warming and could usher in a new ice age. The patterns of rain, snowfall and storms will become more natural and balanced, as human activities that were impacting them will come to an end. The night sky will be clear and bright after the lights of the cities are gone. The view of the starlight and the galaxy will be amazing. Clearer skies and atmosphere will improve the migration of birds. There will be no obstacle in finding direction for them. Radioactive waste left by humans will remain a threat for thousands of years. In some areas, it can destroy lives. However, radiation levels will decrease over time, and these areas will also eventually come under the control of nature. Without humans, the reduction of greenhouse gases will increase the cold, and the ice sheets in the Arctic and Antarctica could expand again. Areas that have been submerged after melting can turn back into solid land and become habitats for new species. Geologists will know the future of the Anthropocene from layers of concrete, plastic, and metal. Metals and other materials left by humans can turn into new mineral forms due to pressure and heat. In billions of years, the sun's temperature will rise, causing the Earth's water to evaporate. But by then many new forms of life may have developed on Earth. The Earth's moon is slowly moving away. This will change the tidal pattern on Earth over millions of years, which will affect marine life. If an outside civilization visits Earth, they may find some remnants of our civilization. Radio signals created by us. Artifacts or buildings carved on stones. Abnormal changes that occur in the landscape of the Earth. It reminds us that the Earth's life cycle goes beyond humans. We are only a small part of it. Humans need to understand through our activities that we are part of the ecological balance of the Earth, not its owners. Earth is a living and changing planet. Without humans, it would return to its natural cycle, but the traces we left behind, such as plastic, radioactive materials, and buildings, would remain part of it for a long time. The story of Earth will continue even without humanity, and its future will be for the hundreds of millions of species that will find their place in every corner of it.